All right, in talking about congruence of triangles, just want to review just really quickly what's meant by congruence. Okay, congruence simply means equal in all respects. And the symbol for congruent is an equal sign with a symbol called a tilde on top. Okay, that's the image that will represent congruence. And in talking about congruence of triangles specifically, if two triangles are said to be congruent, so let's say these two triangles are congruent, we'll label them A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. What congruence means is all corresponding pieces between these triangles, so all corresponding pieces are congruent. So angle A, which corresponds here, if we were going just by the image, to angle X. Angle B corresponds with angle Y, so those are equal. Angle C corresponds with angle Z, so those are equal. Side AB, which is opposite angle C, is congruent to the corresponding side XY. Side BC and ZY correspond, therefore they're equal. And then finally AC and XZ would be equal. Okay, so all of these pieces, given the congruence of triangles, all these corresponding pieces will also be considered congruent. And now it doesn't just stop with these 6 pieces of information. Any corresponding mid-segments would also be equal. Any corresponding altitudes would also be equal. Any corresponding medians would also be equal. So anything that has a measure between these two triangles is going to be equal. So their perimeters will be equal. Again, any measurable quantity that corresponds is going to be equal for these. Okay, and when you have congruence of triangles, you can identify that using a congruent statement. And the congruent statement is simply to take one of your triangles, so let's say triangle ABC, and state that it is congruent to, and label the corresponding pieces. So A corresponds to what point in the other triangle? X, so that would be written first here. B is written second, so we see what B corresponds to is Y. And then C is written third. We see what C corresponds to. And so this would be your congruent statement regarding those two triangles. And now, in addition to starting with the figures and identifying what the congruence is, you may also start with the congruence pattern, and then from there figure out what pieces of information are congruent. And so if I just take 3 random letters, okay. So if you look at these, if you look at this one statement, this tells you that your triangles ADX and PRT are congruent. And so just from this statement, without having to do anything else, you know the following pieces of information. Angle A is congruent to what angle in the other triangle? First letter, so it's equal to angle P. Angle D is equal to angle R, the second letters. And finally, angle X is equal to angle T. In addition to these corresponding angles, you also have corresponding sides. So AD, DX, and XA. You can identify their corresponding pairs by just, again, looking at how the letters are oriented in the congruent statement. AD is the first 2 letters, therefore that's equal to PR. DX is the last 2, so that's RT. XA is the extreme, or the outsides, so that's equal to TP. Okay, and so those are the 6 different relationships that you can identify from one congruent statement. Right? So this is true for all congruent figures. Right? Their corresponding pieces are congruent to each other.